The chilling murder of David Caldwell, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, sent shockwaves through the nation and left many questions unanswered. On November 15, 2024, in the heart of Chicago, this prominent figure in the healthcare industry was gunned down in broad daylight, just steps away from his downtown office. The assassination was not only shocking because of Caldwell's status, but also because of the cold, calculated manner in which the murder was carried out. In the midst of a bustling city, the crime occurred without warning, leaving everyone wondering, was this the work of a lone assassin, or was there someone else involved? And perhaps even more unsettling, could that accomplice be someone who was close to Caldwell himself? Caldwell had been a powerful figure in the healthcare sector for over 2 decades. His leadership at UnitedHealthcare had shaped the company into one of the largest health insurance providers in the United States. His influence stretched far beyond the company, as he was also deeply involved in charitable efforts, working with multiple organizations to expand healthcare access and improve outcomes for millions. So when news broke that he had been found dead, it left the public stunned. In a world where corporate leaders are often guarded by layers of security, the fact that Caldwell's death occurred in such a public, easily accessible location raised questions. The murder occurred at 7:12 a.m., when Caldwell, as usual, was leaving his luxury apartment in downtown Chicago. The surveillance footage from nearby security cameras captured his every move. As Caldwell walked to his car, seemingly unaware of the danger that was closing in, a man in a black hoodie and face mask stepped out from behind a parked car. Without hesitation, the assassin drew a silenced handgun and fired several shots, striking Caldwell in the chest. The assassin didn't rush. He took his time, calmly walking up to the fallen CEO, checking his pulse and ensuring his victim was truly dead before walking away, as if this was nothing more than a routine task. Afterward, the shooter disappeared into the early morning fog, riding away on a bicycle, leaving no trace of his whereabouts. Witnesses who had seen the incident unfold were frozen in shock. There was no time for anyone to react, and by the time the authorities arrived, it was too late. Chicago's police were quick to respond, but the scene was already chaotic. Emergency services arrived shortly after the shooting, but David Caldwell was declared dead at the scene. Detectives immediately began their investigation, poring over security footage from every camera in the vicinity. However, the images captured only showed a figure in a dark hoodie and a face mask, with no clear identification of the shooter's features. The authorities quickly released these images to the public, hoping someone would recognize the figure. But days passed without any meaningful leads, and the case began to grow cold. That is, until a tip came in from a source who wished to remain anonymous. 2 days after the murder, a witness contacted the police with critical information that would shift the course of the investigation. This person had seen the shooter before the crime in a local cafe just a few blocks away from where the murder took place. The witness described the man as being on the phone with someone in an intense conversation. The caller on the other end, the witness recalled, seemed to be giving the shooter specific instructions. This new lead opened up new possibilities. If the assassin had been working under the direction of someone else, the question became, who could that person be? And what role did this mysterious individual play in Caldwell's death? As detectives delved deeper into the background of the suspect, they found that the assassin's identity was linked to someone who had worked with Caldwell in the past. Jason Lang, a former employee at UnitedHealthcare, became their prime suspect. Lang had been let go from the company a few years earlier under unclear circumstances. His brief tenure at UnitedHealthcare had left a trail of unresolved issues, and his departure was far from amicable. Despite the potential for a business motive, investigators struggled to find a direct link between Lang and Caldwell. But one thing became clear. Lang had been in contact with someone very familiar with Caldwell's movements. Further investigation revealed something disturbing. Jason Lang had been in frequent communication with Kevin Shaw, Caldwell's former business partner. Shaw had been part of Caldwell's rise to the top, but their relationship had soured when Shaw was ousted from UnitedHealthcare amid a highly publicized fallout. The circumstances surrounding Shaw's departure were clouded in bitterness, with rumors swirling about financial disagreements and personal conflicts, As more information came to light, it became apparent that Shaw had been harboring a deep resentment for Caldwell for years. Was this motive enough for him to orchestrate a murder? And if so, what part did Jason Lang play in carrying out such a brazen act of violence? The plot thickened when Shaw's phone records revealed that he had been in constant contact with Lang leading up to the shooting. Investigators were now certain that Shaw had provided Lang with critical details about Caldwell's schedule, movements, and even his preferred route to work. Shaw, it seemed, had been playing a dangerous game, manipulating Lang into taking the fatal shot. But as the investigation into Shaw's possible involvement continued, detectives uncovered an even more unsettling possibility. Was Shaw acting alone? Or was there a third party involved in the murder? A person who had helped orchestrate the plan from the very beginning, while Shaw remained the key suspect. An anonymous tip once again changed the direction of the investigation. This new source revealed that Shaw had not been the only person involved in the murder plot. The informant claimed that Shaw had been working with someone else, a mysterious individual with a deeper connection to Caldwell than anyone had initially suspected. The authorities quickly zeroed in on this new lead and began uncovering a web of deceit that reached into Caldwell's personal and professional life. The third individual at the heart of the conspiracy was someone Caldwell knew very well, his former personal assistant, Julia Harris. Harris had worked for Caldwell for nearly a decade and had been intimately involved in his professional and personal affairs. When investigators began looking into her past, they discovered that Harris had been struggling financially in recent months despite her lucrative position. But what caught their attention was her sudden and unexplained departure from Caldwell's team just months before the murder. Julia had left on bad terms, citing personal reasons, but detectives quickly uncovered that she had been in communication with Shaw during the weeks leading up to Caldwell's death. Could Harris have been the third player in this deadly game, helping orchestrate the hit on her former employer? Harris's connection to the murder was further solidified when investigators found a series of encrypted emails between her and Shaw discussing Caldwell's movements and the timing of the shooting. The messages were carefully worded, but the implications were clear. Harris had played a significant role in arranging the murder. But why? What was her motive? Was it financial desperation or something more personal? Was she seeking revenge for being ousted from Caldwell's inner circle? Or did she have an even darker reason for wanting him dead? As police closed in on Harris, they were able to track her down at a remote cabin in the mountains outside of Chicago. When confronted, she initially denied any involvement in Caldwell's murder, claiming that she had simply been in contact with Shaw to discuss business matters. But after further questioning, Harris finally cracked. She confessed to her role in the murder plot, detailing how she had helped Shaw plan the assassination and how she had used her insider knowledge of Caldwell's life to provide the crucial information needed to carry out the crime. The full scope of the conspiracy was now clear. Shaw, Lang, and Harris had all worked together to bring about Caldwell's death. But as shocking as the involvement of Caldwell's former assistant was, it raised even more questions. Had Shaw truly been the mastermind behind the plot, or had someone else been pulling the strings? Was there yet another person, another shadowy figure, who had masterminded the entire operation, using Shaw and his associates as pawns in a larger game? The investigation into Caldwell's murder continued to evolve, with new leads and surprising revelations coming to light. The more the authorities uncovered, the clearer it became that this murder was not just about business rivalries or personal grudges. It was about something much bigger. The public, still reeling from the brutal nature of the crime, anxiously awaited the next twist in the case. And as the investigation progressed, one thing became certain. The full truth behind Caldwell's murder had not yet been revealed. There were still secrets waiting to be uncovered, and with every new lead, the story became even more chilling than anyone could have imagined. As the trial for Shaw, Lang, and Harris loomed, the public's fascination with the case only grew. What drove these individuals to betray someone they had once trusted? Was it greed, revenge, or something darker? And perhaps most disturbingly, what was the true nature of the conspiracy that led to David Caldwell's death? These questions remain unanswered, but the pursuit of justice for Caldwell and for the truth remains at the forefront of this haunting tale. The case may be nearing its conclusion, but for those who are following it, the mystery of David Caldwell's murder will likely continue to haunt them for years to come. As investigators continue to probe every angle, the full extent of the conspiracy may still be waiting to be uncovered, and the truth may be even darker than anyone could have imagined.